The market is struggling. The existing side of the market is really in the doldrums. Sales have struggled to really gain any momentum, stuck around that 4 million annualized rate. And that's because that existing homeowner, as you alluded to, is still rate locked into pandemic era low interest rates. Consider that 80% of existing homeowners are locked into rates below 6%. So yes, rates have come down to about 6.3%, and that's great news. We are seeing demand respond to that, but it's not really enough to move that needle substantially. It's not really enough of a financial incentive to get a lot of those sellers who are also buyers to transact.
Odeta, do you think there's a clearing rate which would free up the market? Is it 6%? Is it 5%? Is it something, I don't know, even lower? Is there a rate that people in the industry feels like, all right, this will get transactions moving?
I certainly think if we get rates, approaching 6 or dipping below that, that would there's even a sort of a psychological barrier to getting below that 6% threshold, and it would unlock some of those rate locked in homeowners. But I just don't think that rates are really the panacea. I don't think that we wait for rates to save the housing market. We're still seeing sales happen, and that's really being driven by life events, life happens type of moves. And then, of course, you have the new home side of the market that has been a relative outperformer because those builders are not rate locked in. They have that inventory and they have an incentive to sell it. And so they're offering incentives, they're offering mortgage rate buy downs,
Right.
they're offering upgrades. And so that sector has been a relative outperformer.
Odeta, you were weaving us in the crucible of what's called a donut city. You were at St. John Fisher, which is like 12 feet from Oak Hill Country Club.
Yes.
It's like you play golf when you got nothing better to do. Odeta, you look at Rochester with a depressed central city and the suburbs booming. Take what you learned there into the housing market across the nation. How do we clear our housing disaster?
That's a really great point. I mean, Rochester is also outperforming when you look at stats across the nation, and that's really the story these days. Is that there's regional bifurcations,
Yeah.
which wasn't the case over the pandemic. I mean, over the pandemic, everywhere you looked, it was a hot sellers market with multiple offer bidding wars. This time around, you have Northeast, Midwest markets. They're still seeing resilience in price growth, whereas a lot of those Sunbelt markets, those pandemic darlings, they're experiencing price declines. So
Yeah,
you
but
have
I don't mean
markets
to
like
interrupt, but
Phoenix.
this is too important. They're doing
Yeah.
price declines because they screwed up and overbuilt, right?
Well, there's a nuanced story there as well because you have markets like San Francisco that are experiencing downward pressure on prices, and I think that's just an affordability story, right? Rates went up, that market's already expensive, and so now you're seeing some demand pull back because those rates are disproportionately impacting already expensive markets like San Francisco. In markets like Tampa and Phoenix, yes, there's been higher inventory growth in those markets, which supply and demand 101, a lot of supply as demand is pulling back, that's contributing to price declines. But the good news there is that those price declines are actually helping affordability and will ultimately, encourage some buyers to get off the sidelines.
What's the new housing market supply situation? Are builders bringing more supply on the market?
They are indeed. New home inventory is elevated, and so builders again are offering those incentives to try and sell that inventory, but they're facing headwinds of their own. I mean, inventory for existing homes
Right.
has been increasing, and so that's competition, especially in key builder markets like Texas and Florida. Material costs are still higher, so builders are facing their own set of headwinds, which is why they've pulled back on permitting more new single family
Right.
homes. The permits number is down. But I still think that compared to the
Right.
existing home market, the builders are in a better spot.